Midnight lives differently in a mansion. The chandeliers dim to a whisper. The marble remembers every footstep. And somewhere between the kitchen steam and the cold glass walls, a maid named Sophia stood with a tray that didn't belong to her. Polished silver, a small music box, and a letter sealed with blue wax. "Please," said Michael, the billionaire's son, his voice a soft rasp. "One last request." Outside the staff corridor, laughter rose from the elite guests, sharp and careless. Someone had just joked that the help should use the backstairs because the carpets were allergic to poverty. You could feel the salt of the words. You could feel the sting. Silence. Sophia kept her eyes low. That was how you survived here. Head down. Hands fast. Heart quiet. But Michael's eyes were gentle, like warm tea on a sick day. "You're the only one who listens," he said. "Will you help me tonight?" She nodded. Because what else could she do? He was pale, beautiful, and dying by inches the papers never saw. She'd watched him choose kindness when others chose cruelty. She'd seen him stop Robert, the head of security, from mocking the dishwasher who'd spilled soup. She'd heard him say, "Thank you," to the kitchen staff and mean it. "Name it," she whispered. Michael slid the music box toward her. "At midnight, bring this to my father, John. In the staff cafeteria. Not the ballroom. Make him sit at a plastic table. Make him listen when it plays. And this." He tapped the sealed letter. "Give him this when the song ends. Not a second earlier." A breath held. A clock ticked. Far away, a violin sang in the ballroom like money. "You know they'll laugh at me," Sophia said softly. "They'll say I'm overstepping. They'll call me names." "Let them," Michael said, and managed a smile. "You and I know what his wife, my mother Evelyn, left behind in this house. Some truths are worth the bruises." Questions swirled like steam. What truth? Why a music box? Why force a billionaire into the cafeteria where the workers ate standing up? And why choose Sophia, the quiet maid the rich kids called invisible? "Do you trust me?" Michael asked. Sophia swallowed. "Yes." He reached for her hand. Warmth. Fragile. Human. "Then tonight," he said, "we move the mountain. What would you do if someone asked you to pick a fight with a castle? Would you still go if the guards were watching? Have you ever felt a moment stretch so thin you could hear it hum?" Midnight was coming. The mansion held its breath. The staff cafeteria smelled like onions, bleach, and tired bones. Plastic chairs. Flickering fluorescent lights. The clock above the vending machine blinked 11:47 p.m. Emma, the night cleaner, rubbed sleep from her eyes and whispered, "Sophia, you sure about this?" "No," Sophia said. "But it's right." On her tray sat the music box and the letter. The box was oak, scratched at the edges, the kind of old that feels like a memory. Someone had carved a small lily into the lid. Lily of the Valley, Evelyn's favorite. Sophia had learned that from a faded cookbook in the North Wing, a wing the rich rarely entered unless there were cameras. Robert's shadow arrived before he did. "Where do you think you're going with that?" His tone poured oil over the floor. "An errand for Mr. Michael," she said. "Mr. Michael," he mocked, rolling his eyes. "You people always cling to names like life rafts. He's a boy playing saint. The real power is in the ballroom." He leaned in. "The boss is not coming down here." Sophia breathed in, out. Silent moment. "He will," she said. "What, because you asked?" Robert barked a laugh. "You. The stray we hired after your mother, Emma, burned her hands in our laundry room? Don't forget who gave you this job." The words hit like stones, but Sophia didn't flinch. "My mother saved Mrs. Evelyn and Michael during the warehouse fire," she said. "I didn't forget that either." Robert's jaw tightened. "Fairy tales," he said, and walked away, muttering about charity cases. At 11:56, the service elevator doors parted. John stepped out in a tuxedo like armor. He looked wrong in the fluorescent light. Too polished for plastic chairs. Evelyn's pearl tie pin glinted at his throat, a ghost of tenderness. He didn't acknowledge Sophia. He didn't need to. Men like him had a stare that could price your soul. "You asked for me," he said, sitting. No, lowering himself like the chair might infect him. "Make it quick." Sophia set the music box on the table. "When it plays, please listen to the end. Then read this." She placed the sealed letter beside it. Blue wax. The lily crest. John studied the seal. A flicker. Something almost human passed through his eyes. "Where did you get that?" "From your son," she said. "He trusts you'll finish the song." "Michael," he murmured, then covered it with coolness. "I don't take orders from staff." Sophia opened the lid. The room filled with a delicate melody, notes like winter sun on glass. The cafeteria stilled. Even the vending machine quieted. Silence. Do you believe a song can open a door you've kept shut for years? Would you have pressed play? What would you expect the letter to say? The last note trembled. John broke the seal. His hands shook. And then the alarms sounded. Red lights pulsed down the corridor. "Not fire, security." Robert's voice blared over the PA. "All staff remain in your stations. Unauthorized activity near the north wing. Repeat, unauthorized." John's eyes snapped to Sophia. "What did you do?" "Only what your son asked," she said, heart hammering. "Read the letter, sir." He did. The color bled from his face. "The north wing," he whispered. The paper shook as he read Evelyn's handwriting. He swallowed hard. She left instructions. Sophia nodded. She left a promise. 10 years ago, a warehouse owned by John's company caught fire. Evelyn had been on site reviewing donations. Smoke. Panic. A laundress named Emma, Sophia's mother, ran back in not once but twice. First with Evelyn. Then with a coughing, terrified boy, Michael. The story never made the press. The court settlement did. Cold figures. Warmer lies. Evelyn couldn't forgive the company for buying silence instead of safety. She started designing a clinic for injured workers, the Evelyn Emma Community Center, a place with free care, legal help, and hot meals. She hid plans in the north wing behind a locked gallery door because John said, "It's not the right time." In her letter, she asked her husband to open the door when he heard the lullaby she'd used to calm Michael after nightmares, the one now fading from the cafeteria air. "Open the door," Evelyn had written, "and let the workers in." Robert burst through the cafeteria doors with 2 guards. "Mr. John, step away. She's manipulating you." "Stand down," John said, voice thin as wire. "Sir." "I said stand down." The room held its breath. Silent beat. He looked at Sophia. "If this is a trick." "It isn't," she said. "But you'll have to see for yourself." They moved through the service halls like a strange parade, tuxedo, maid, security. The north wing door loomed, a heavy oak slab with the lily crest. John's hand hovered over the keypad. He hadn't touched this door in years. Code entered. The lock clicked. Inside, sunlight trapped in canvases. Dust crossing in slow gold threads. And on the far wall, a mural Evelyn had painted herself, a long table. Workers seated at it. John and Evelyn serving soup. In the corner, a sketched blueprint. A title above it in pencil, "Sunday Table, Every Day." Sophia felt warmth climb her throat. She wanted the cafeteria to be a promise, she said. Not a punishment. Robert snorted. Pretty pictures don't pay bills. Neither do threats, came a voice behind them. Michael. Thin. In a wheelchair. Smiling. Hi, Dad. John's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Silence. Have you ever seen a man pretend not to feel and then fail? If you were Sophia, would you speak or let the memory do the talking? What do you think Evelyn wanted most in this moment? John stepped closer to the mural, fingers trembling. I told her we'd do it someday, he said. I made someday a coffin. Then take the lid off, Sophia said gently. Tonight, Michael whispered. Please. John turned, and hesitated. The cafeteria transformed fast. The staff moved like a heartbeat once they realized Michael was involved. Emma the night cleaner arranged plastic flowers in a chipped vase. The dishwasher stirred a pot of chicken soup and prayed it wouldn't stick. Someone found folding tables. Someone else dragged in a box of plain candles. Their small flames softened the harsh light. The room felt less like a break room and more like a held breath. Sophia tied an apron around her waist and added lemon to the water pitcher, exactly how Evelyn's recipe card said. She could almost feel the late woman's hands guiding hers. Steam rose in gentle curls. The music box sat in the middle of the table, lid closed now, like a heartbeat pausing. Silence. At 12:14 a.m., the first workers came in, the landscaper with dirt still under his nails, the laundry crew with raw knuckles, the drivers with coffee breath. They looked confused. Hungry. Hopeful. Sit, Sophia said. Please. John stood like a pillar at the doorway. Robert hovered, bristling. The man in the tuxedo watched the plastic plates line up and the soup get ladled. Money looked out of place next to melted candle wax. Michael wheeled himself to the head of the table. He tapped the music box. Mom called this the Sunday table, he said, voice soft but steady. No dress code. No titles. Just soup, bread, truth. He glanced at his father. Dad. John's jaw worked. Michael, this is symbolic. We can make a proper announcement tomorrow. Announcements don't feed people at midnight, Michael said. Sit. The room waited. You could hear silverware being brave. You could hear a billionaire's heartbeat fight his pride. A long pause. John sat. Something unclenched in the air. The landscaper smiled, unsure if he was allowed. The dishwasher laughed quietly and then covered it. Sophia served soup to John the same way she served everyone else. He took the bowl with 2 hands. Thank you, he said, and his voice betrayed him. Hoarse, human. Michael nodded to Sophia. She stepped forward and set the sealed letter on the table between father and son. There's a second page, she said. Mrs. Evelyn wrote it for tonight. John read. The candles shivered. She kept a ledger, he whispered. Donations promised. Clinics postponed. Legal fees disguised as flooring. He looked at Robert. Robert's face didn't move. We did what was necessary to protect the brand. You protected my name by burying hers, John said, the words slow, stunned, wounded. Michael turned to the workers. If we open the north wing doors, the clinic can start tomorrow, he said. If we sign tonight, the funds move. No more delays. What would you do if the pen was in your hand? Do you think a signature can change a story this late? Have you ever watched someone decide who they really are? John looked at the blueprint. Then at the soup. Then at Sophia. He reached for the pen. And the ballroom crashed into the cafeteria. A wall of cologne and sequins spilled through the doorway. Curious guests. Hungry for drama. Is this a charity stunt? Someone giggled. How cute. Another voice, sharp, familiar. Evelyn's sister Evelyn? Wait, we already have Evelyn. Use Evelyn's friend Evelyn. No. Keep original names. We must use Evelyn only once. Let's make it Evelyn's cousin, Sophia had met once. Never mind names, stick to the core. John, darling, the governor is waiting for you. A woman purred, bracelets chiming. You can take photos with the staff later. The optics will be divine. Robert seized the moment. You see, he said. They smell weakness. This cafeteria theater invites vultures. John's pen hovered. The guests' laughter pressed like a thumb on a bruise. Money disliked looking at need unless it came with a stage. Sophia stepped forward. "No photos," she said, voice clear. "No speeches. Sit, or step out." A hush. It shocked the room that a maid could speak like that. You could hear a strawberry drop somewhere in the ballroom. A guest sneered. "Who are you to talk to us?" "I'm the one Michael trusted," Sophia said simply. "And the one Evelyn asked for when she wrote that letter." She looked at John. "Sir, she mentions my mother by name on the last page. Emma. The laundress with the scars. She saved your family. You promised to save someone else's." John closed his eyes. Silence. He could see it. The fire, the coughing boy, the woman with burned hands holding out a life she could not afford to lose. He could hear Evelyn's voice. "A table is a promise, John. Don't turn it into a prop." Michael coughed and winced. The candles wobbled. "Dad," he whispered, "please." Something gave way. The tuxedo fell off the man inside it. John signed. One stroke. Then another. He pushed the documents to Sophia. "Witness," he said, voice raw. Robert stiffened. "You're making a mistake." John turned. The mistake was building a palace with a locked wing. Robert went very still. Sophia didn't smile. Not yet. She signed her name with careful letters. Sophia Emma Kahn. The room inhaled as if it had lungs. The clinic was real now. The funds were moving. A promise sat on the table with soup stains on the edges. But the last request hadn't been fulfilled, not fully. Michael nodded to Sophia. She understood. She reached into her apron and took out a small wooden key. Evelyn's key. "It opens the back gate," Sophia said. "There are people outside. Night shift mothers. Injured hands. The ones who never get to be seen. Michael asked me to invite them when the music started. He said the first clinic begins tonight." The guests drew back as if poverty were contagious. The workers leaned forward like dawn. "Do you believe in opening doors before you're ready? Would you have sent the invitation? What happens to a mansion when the street walks in?" Sophia pressed the key into John's hand. "Go," she said. He went. The back gate groaned like an old throat. Outside, the night held a small crowd. A man with a sling. A woman with a toddler asleep on her shoulder. 2 teenagers with bandaged wrists. A grandmother in a thin shawl. The security lights painted everything white and unforgiving. John stood there, speechless. Billionaires aren't trained for this kind of silence. They're trained for mics, not eyes. Silence. Sophia moved past him and did what she'd always done, work. She pulled a folding table forward, set out bowls, bread, water. "Welcome," she said. "Come in." She turned to Emma, the night cleaner, namesake of her mother. "Can you help with chairs?" Emma nodded, tears bright. Inside, the guests from the ballroom hovered like people who had accidentally walked into a church. Some fled. Some stayed, softer now, curiosity bending toward humility. The workers made space. The soup found hands. The music box, wound again, spun its lullaby like a small brave heart. Michael sat, eyes shining. He watched Sophia move, steady, calm, unafraid. He watched his father watching her. Then Sophia did the thing that made John drop into the nearest chair as if someone had cut his strings. She took the microphone from the portable speaker the DJ had abandoned and clicked it on. No music. Just her voice. Simple. Clear. "Mr. John," she said, "your clinic begins tonight. But I'm going to ask you for one more thing. Fire no one. Not even Robert. Replace fear with training. Replace labels with names. Start with mine." The room looked at Robert. He looked at the floor. Sophia continued. "My mother, Emma, never got her scholarship. She never asked again. She taught me that forgiveness is not forgetting. It's directing the future. So here's my last request for Michael. Hire apprentices from the staff families. Teach our kids the skills that keep these walls standing. Fund the clinic in his mother's name and my mother's name. And she swallowed. Give the first scholarship to the dishwasher's daughter, Evelyn. The girl peeked from behind the kitchen door, cheeks wet. Because she still comes to work after school. Because she still believes. John's face cracked. He tried to speak. Nothing arrived. He wasn't the man with answers anymore. He was a father learning how to be a father in front of everyone. He stood. He took the mic. Yes, he said. To all of it. He turned to Robert. You're not fired. You're enrolled. We're rebuilding, and you're going to learn how to protect people instead of a brand. Robert nodded, pride stripped to bone. Yes, sir. The room exhaled. Someone laughed through a sob. The toddler woke, yawned, and reached for bread. Michael beckoned Sophia. She knelt beside him. You moved the mountain, he whispered. No, she said, and squeezed his hand. You asked. He smiled. Tired. Bright. The music box reached its last note and lingered, a silver thread of sound no one wanted to cut. Silence. Have you ever seen a story turn because a single person refused to look away? If you had one request left, who would you trust with it? What promise would you make at your table? If you were in John's place, which action would you take first? Open the clinic at sunrise, fund scholarships immediately, or sit with the workers for breakfast and listen to their stories? Why?